Okay, our topic today is sea turtles. They are some of my favorite things on the planet. And sea turtles are wonderful creatures who've been on the earth for a really long time, but they're also very mysterious. There's a lot that we still don't know about them. There we go. There we go. Okay. My name is Jacqua Miller. I live in beautiful Sonoma County, where we are at the moment. I'm a former senior center director at the Sebastopol Senior Center. I have traveled widely, including doing talks on cruise ships since 2002. My motto is, life is good, and so it is. All right, please feel free to ask questions or comments during the presentation, or we'll have an extensive question and answer period at the end of the presentation. And I do have door prizes for you. All right, all sea turtles are reptiles, like crocodiles and alligators and land turtles. They're cold-blooded. They cannot regulate their own body temperature by sweating or panting like humans or dogs do. So if they're cold, they move to warmer waters, and if they're warm, they move to cooler waters. They're egg-laying, which we'll go over extensively a little further in the presentation. Air-breathing, they come up for air about every 30 minutes. And they're vertebrates, which means, like us, they have backbones. And they have lived 70 million years, which is amazing. That means that they survived the Ice Age, and also whatever it was that killed off all the dinosaurs. This is a photo from Yale University in 1895. The interesting thing is the skeleton was found in South Dakota. And as you can see, sea turtles were bigger then. They have modified themselves to be somewhat smaller based on conditions on the earth. Isn't that amazing? All right, sea turtles can swim 6 miles per hour. That's faster than I can swim. They can dive up to 3,000 feet. Wow. And they can stay underwater for up to 5 hours. Now that's when they're asleep. When they're awake, they come up for air about every 30, 45, 60 minutes. Yeah. All right, and that's how they stay underwater. All right, they live about the same length of time that we do as humans, which is 80 to 100 years. The males spend their entire life at sea, and the females come ashore only to nest. They don't pull in their heads or legs. That's a land turtle that does that. They can't see very well on land. They're colorblind. They just see shadows. And they don't have any teeth. They have this bony protuberance here, which they use to tear apart their food, either grass or crustaceans or jellyfish. Here is the sea turtle range worldwide. This area is where there are sea turtles. Now this is in fact moving north. I'm doing some research for a cruise I'm going on to Alaska in June, and there are now sea turtles in Alaska, in the southern part of Alaska. They like temperate water, but they can range as far as Alaska and also up into Canada. They like shallow reefs and bays, except when they're on their migration to mate. There are 7 kinds of sea turtles. Now you're going to say, but Jacqua, there's only 6 kinds on the chart. And that's because there's a small population of flatback turtles in Australia, which has only 1 or 2 breeding beaches there. So they didn't make the chart. We're going to go over each kind. Okay, the smallest sea turtle is the Kemp's Ridley, and it's about 24 to 36 inches. and it nests only in the Gulf of Mexico, so limited population. And this is among the most endangered of all the sea turtles because it only has this one nesting area.
What makes a sea turtle a sea turtle?
Living in the sea. Olive Ridley is also about the same size, and this is the most abundant of all the sea turtles because it ranges the Pacific, the Indian, and the Atlantic Oceans. And about the same size as the Kemp's Ridley. It's interesting that one of them is the most endangered and the other one about the same size is the most abundant. All right, hawksbill. This is found worldwide, nesting in 82 nations. They've been hunted for their beautiful shells, which is unfortunate for them. It's endangered them. Yes, Sally?
Is there any society that eats the turtle meat?
Is there any society that eats the turtle meat? Yes, and there's a worldwide effort to change that. All right, this is our hawksbill, and you can see their beautiful shell. And because of that, they're used for a lot of different products. And we don't want to buy any of these things. You don't know if you have any tortoise shell items. You don't know if that are turtle shell items. You don't know if that turtle died a natural death or if it was poached. So part of the way we can protect them is to never buy any products that are used with turtle shells. You can do that, right? Okay. This is the loggerhead. It's a much bigger turtle, as you can see. Its carapace, which is the shell part, is up to 50 inches, so over 4 feet. It can weigh 600 pounds, and it has a really strong jaw, the one I showed you before, and it eats large shellfish like crabs and crustaceans. Now, the green sea turtles, which is the one that you usually think of when you think of a sea turtle, they're very mild and gentle. Loggerheads, on the other side, hand, can get really nasty. They've attacked oars and boats and people if they get angry. So this is the biggest of all the sea turtles, the leatherback. 6 feet, that's their carapace. They can weigh up to a ton, and they eat jellyfish. Primarily the diet is jellyfish, so we need to watch out for plastic bags, and I'll show you why a little later in the talk. And remember this one because it's going to turn up when I talk about sea turtles in California. Okay, this is the green sea turtle, as I said, the one that is you think of when you think of sea turtles. So it's a vegetarian. When the little turtles make it to the sea after they nest, they'll eat anything until they're about the size of those Kemp's Ridley, about dinner plate size, and then they eat only grasses, seagrass. They nest all over the Gulf Coast, many West Coast states, especially Florida, Mexico, California, and Hawaii. Some people have told me that they swim with the sea turtles in Hawaii. It's probably the green sea turtles. Okay. The green sea turtles get help from the fishes to clean patches of algae off of their carapace. The fish get a free meal, and the turtle gets a clean shell. Sea turtles migrate up to 3,000 miles to mate and nest. They may be living in a perfectly nice place where they could go nest on the beach. They don't nest there. They return to their natal beach, the beach of origin for them. No one knows how they navigate. That's one of the major mysteries. How do they get from wherever they've wandered to back to their natal beach? We don't know. There were some theories of electromagnetic forces. They've been disproven. So one of the big mysteries is, how do sea turtles navigate? How do they know where they're going? So both the male turtles and the female turtles migrate back to their natal beach.
And they've been tagged, so that's how they know what the,
Recently, yes, I'm gonna talk about that. They have, the turtles have been tagged recently in the last 30 years. So this is a movie. And not sure if we're gonna have volumes or not, but it's a, self-explanatory. This is the sea turtle. They come up the beach very ponderous. They're not designed for land. They are designed for water. They go into a trance when they're laying their eggs. They have to get up above the high tide line or their nests will be washed away. So they have to go up a good distance. This, unsure, but something tropical, so perhaps a part of Mexico. Is where they're laying their eggs. They lay about 100 eggs, but the last 20 of them are false eggs. They're infertile, and that's to keep the predators from getting into their fertile eggs.
Does the predator know it's infertile or not tasting?
I don't know, but I assume they do not. It's taken humans a long time to figure that out. That, oh, all these infertile eggs, they keep happening on the top of the nest. This must be a reason. So this is a turtle team, which is measuring the sea turtle. As I said, they go into a trance, so they're not bothering them at all. And then she goes back to the sea. She will go offshore for a while, and she will mate again and lay another clutch of eggs in about 30 to 60 days. And she will lay between 3 and 5 clutches during any, during any nesting season. And then she'll go away for 2 or 3 years before she comes back and does it again. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay. And this is the baby turtles coming out. Yeah. She will never see her baby turtles and have no interaction with them. Of the nestlings, they're thinking perhaps 1 in 100 will grow to maturity. Okay, the hatchlings, this is fascinating to me. The warmth of the sand that the nest is in determines the sex of the hatchlings. Not 100%, but a vast majority. The warmer the sand, the more likely there'll be more females in the hatching. So with the Earth temperatures rising, that means warmer sands, which means more females, which could ultimately affect the population of all the sea turtles. So they stay underneath until about 60 days, and the ones that hatch first hang out and wait around until everybody's hatched. And then they all come out at once, and they burst out like a little tsunami and head to the sea.
were all the eggs buried in the sand?
Yes, they're buried pretty deep, like 1.5 feet. Okay. Yeah, the last 20 of the eggs are sterile. And these are the turtlets. There they are bursting out of the nest. They move to the light. They surge to the light of the moon, sparkling on the seawater. They come out at night. So if there are house lights or car lights nearby, it can confuse them. So say you had you're living on the beach and you have your light shining out onto the beach, they could surge to that and then they would not make it to the sea. So they actually have laws in Florida and lots of places that during nesting season, you must turn off your exterior lights. Okay, tracking the turtles. It's only about the last 30 years that we've been able to track turtles. So we're just gaining more information about them because before that, we were just guessing. We didn't know where that turtle went. We didn't know how long it lived. We still don't know how it navigates. So this was the original satellite device glued upon the back of the sea turtle. And this is one where they had to use, because this is the leatherback, this is a big turtle, they had to use straps and a harness on it. But technology has developed, so now we can use this little bitty thing to track them. And they super glue it to the left shoulder of the turtles now, always on the left side. Super glue and then a patch over it. Okay, so the 7 types of sea turtles that we talked about are all endangered. They're all on the endangered species list. And the Kemp's Ridley and the leatherback are the most critically endangered.
Is that from human activity? What?
Yes, it's a number of things. Human activity is definitely a part of it. All right, here's some exceptions. The green sea turtle in Florida, Grand Cayman, and parts of Mexico. There's major conservation movements and volunteers there, and they're doing a really good job. Anybody originally from Florida? Oh darn, I was going to congratulate you.
Well, I was going to say that I've been in Costa Rica, taken
Costa Rica?
watched the turtle come up and lay eggs.
You got to see a turtle come up and lay
I
eggs?
watched them release the babies.
Oh yeah, nice. And she saw a baby release too.
And what they did there, they had a place where they took the eggs in and hatched them inside. And that way they got more to live and they got more of them out to the ocean.
Right, can you all hear her? All right. She was in Costa Rica and she got to watch a turtle come up onto the beach and nest. And then later she got to watch some of the babies being released to the sea. And some of the babies are being taken in by that organization, that volunteer organization there. And they're being raised until, generally you raise them until they're about dinner plate size. So it increases the amount of turtles that will live from each of the nesting hatches. And that's in Costa Rica. Right, so, turtle teams. There are volunteer groups all over the world. Thousands of small groups that help to take care of the sea turtles, the threatened sea turtles. Most of the groups are based at 1 or 2 beaches, and they're typically at risk. Those beaches are at risk for overexploitation. Here's some turtle teams working on, this is a green sea turtle. This is when the turtles nest. They don't think they're going to survive because they're below the tide line, or there's too much beach activity and they're going to get walked on, or maybe somebody's running a dune buggy up and down the beach. The turtle teams will move them, and they put them all close together in an area, and they monitor them until they hatch. A part of protecting the sea turtles is through education, like what we're doing tonight. So you can talk to all your family and friends about sea turtles and how important they are. So this is from Florida, and this one, it may also be from Florida. But there are signs posted wherever sea turtles are nesting to let people know how important it is that they pay attention and don't walk there, don't disturb them, take care of our sea turtles. Now, here's some turtle volunteers in Florida. When the mother turtles come up at night time, because there's less predators around, which is also why the turtlets hatch at night, because there's less crabs and gulls and other things that can try to grab them before they make it to the sea. So the turtle teams are out all night looking for nesting turtles, and they stay with them to protect them, and then they do an evaluation of their health, see if they need any medical assistance. They tag them and they will measure them. Okay, they mark and guard the nests, the turtle teams. They move the nests if they need to be moved. They help the hatchlings to the sea. They'll actually stand guard and wave off the birds and try to keep the crabs back. And they provide medical care for turtles.
Oh.
And they also have sanctuaries, as this woman mentioned in Costa Rica, where they will keep the turtles there and grow them and let them grow until they're dinner plate size. Because until they're that big, they can be swallowed by a lot of things in the ocean. But once they're that big, they're self-sustaining because they're too big to eat. All right, here's some medical care. As you can see, a fish hook. And this one's getting cleaned up for algae, I believe. All right, in Mexico, they have a very aggressive program of protecting the sea turtles, which is wonderful because Mexico was one of the places where the turtles were most exploited, both for meat and for their shells. So they send out the federal and local police. They stand guard on the beaches during turtle season, and they send up drones also. All right. There's a place called the Carr Sea Turtle Refuge in Florida, and this is their green turtle nesting, 1982 to 2015. So in 1982, there were hardly any sea turtles nesting there on their beach. And they started a protection program then, and you can see the numbers grow and grow and grow. This fluctuation between years is normal, because as I said, it's 2 to 3 years before a mating female will come back. So it's a normal fluctuation. But look at the difference between 1982 and 2014. Yeah, the director says it's a miracle. Okay, now, May 23rd coming up is National World Turtle Day. So we're all going to wear green and talk about sea turtles. Okay. I'm going to show you some places where you can see some turtles in the Caribbean. And then also in California, I did some research on California sea turtles. Okay, St. Thomas. Anybody been to St. Thomas? Yeah, wonderful place. I love it. They have lots of sea turtles. Most of the places where you can snorkel, you can see sea turtles while you snorkel. The sea turtles rest on the bottom near turtle grass, so you can look for turtle grass. They come up for air every 30 to 60 minutes, as I said, so if you just hang out on top with your snorkel mask, eventually that rock that you see down there will move, and it's actually a sea turtle. Yeah, you want to snorkel? Anybody still doing snorkeling? I do. Haven't done it for a while. But if you do, you don't want to get too close to them because we don't want them, even though the green sea turtles are gentle, we don't want them to feel harassed by our human presence in the water, in their water. All right, there's a place in St. Thomas where you can go into a pond with green sea turtles, and it's a place called Coral World. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because I think they should be in a natural habitat away from humans. Barbados, I like Barbados a lot. It's world-renowned for its soft, white, sandy beaches, and there's sea turtles at many of those beaches. Green sea turtles. Now, this is one of the special places on the planet as far as I'm concerned. It's the Cayman Turtle Farm, and they have a beach where the turtles nest, and they guard the turtles, but they also bring some into a sanctuary, turtle sanctuary, and raise them until they can be released back in. Grand Cayman had, like the Florida place, had almost no sea turtles 20 years ago, and now they have abundant nesting near here, and they also release these sea turtles back. The interesting thing about Grand Cayman is Columbus came by there in 1494 on one of his first cruises. And he remarked in his log that there were so many sea turtles that they could have walked to shore on the backs of the sea turtles and never got their feet wet. Alright, this is Grand Cayman, and cruise ship comes in down here, here, and the turtle farm is there. Okay, sea turtles in California. Alright, see those little red dots? Those are nesting beaches, and I don't know why that one's up there by Sacramento. But these are the loggerheads turtles, and these are the green sea turtles. And you can see that near us, we do have turtle nesting places, and down again in Southern California.
It's like quite a collection in Monterey Bay there.
Yes, that's one of the places that they've been sighted. So, California has an official state sea turtle. I just learned this. Since 2012, the leatherback turtle has been the official symbol, the official turtle of the state of California. Go California. All right, recent sightings of sea turtles near here, the Farallon Islands, Monterey, San Mateo, Laguna Beach, and San Diego. Really, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, there are no nesting areas in California at this time. Those charts were sightings. Remember, they, go find a nice bay to hang out in until they go back to their natal beach to lay their eggs to mate. Okay, as a species, sea turtles have survived for millions of years. They saw the dinosaurs come and go, but they might not withstand human threats. And those threats are loss of habitat. Every time we put a new bunch of houses on a beach that was a nesting beach, it can take away some of their habitat and definitely some of their safety for nesting. Poaching is still happening. There's a lot of efforts to not have poaching happening, but we need more education worldwide. Litter in the ocean is a very big problem. And entanglements in fishing gear, isn't that sad? So there's these special nets that fisher people off the California coast are supposed to use, and we're hoping this movement goes worldwide. And it has a turtle release. So if the turtles do get caught in the net, they can get out. All right, every piece of trash matters. And I think you knew that for other reasons, but you might not have known that these turtles who eat jellyfish find these bags very compelling because it looks like a jellyfish in the water. So you know those bags that you get your vegetables in? You need to be very careful where you put those and make sure every one of them goes into recycling. All right, turning off outside lights. As I said, there are laws at many places now, definitely in the United States. So donate if you can, time or funds to your local sea turtle team. Just Google sea turtle rescue and you'll have hundreds and hundreds of responses on sea turtle groups that will be asking for your time or donation. And if we can't do that, then what we want to do is make sure that we keep that trash corralled. If you happen to be walking on a beach and you see trash, pick it up. You could be saving a sea turtle's lives right there. All right, now I have a slideshow of turtles for you to enjoy. Yeah. Oh, the green sea turtle, it doesn't always look very green. And it's actually the meat and the fat inside the sea turtle that's green. And that's why they're called the green sea turtle. Now this one, they didn't really paint a sea turtle. This one was done computer-generated graphics. I've seen the same turtle with lots of different designs on its shell. So I just thought it was pretty and I would include it, but then people aren't going around and painting sea turtle shells that I know. All right. I bet it feels pretty good to get that. Yeah.
Now, the turtle's carapace grows with them, they don't
Yes.
shed it.
Yes, Carol is asking if the carapace, the shell grows with them. Yes, they don't shed their shells like land tortoises do. Good question. It just grows with them. And the turtles that eat the high protein, the crustaceans and the jellyfish and stuff, they're the ones that tend to get bigger. I love that one. The seagull looks like it's having a bad hair day. Or a bad feather day. All right. We'll have questions and comments followed by door prizes. Yeah? Yes, sir.
You mentioned that turtles. Thank you, Sam. You mentioned that turtles have been around for about 70 million years.
Yes.
From what lineage did they evolve?
I was looking at that today. Let me see if I can recreate it. Snails.
And how did they separate from the land turtles that we have?
The land turtles, like what they think happened with humans, moved from the sea turtles, they moved onto the land. And then they developed the characteristics that made it possible for them to live on the land. Good questions, yeah. Thank you. Over here. Anna? Yeah. Thanks, Karen.
Can a mature female sea turtle lay eggs all her life?
It's a very good question. A mature sea turtle, we think, because as I said, it's still a mystery, at about age 15 to 20 begins laying eggs. And we don't at this time know the ending point of that, how long it goes. If she lives 80 years, you know, is she like humans that at the later part of our life we're not going to have any more babies? We don't know that answer. Good question.
Let me know when you...
Well, we have to track sea turtles for more years to find out the answers to some of these, because if they live 80 years, we've been tracking them for 15, 20, maybe 30 years. We need a bigger time span on that. Other questions and comments? Hi.
I remembered that I've heard the word
It's fine. I can hear. Can you all hear? I'll repeat it.
turtle soup.
Turtle soup, yeah, and turtle fritters.
So when we have turtle soup, tell us how.
Well, we don't want to eat turtle soup because we're not sure how that turtle was caught, whether, you know, it was poached or not. But there is a thing called mock turtle soup, and I'm not sure what's in it, but if it's got a mock in front of it, I think it's okay. Do you know, anybody know what's in mock turtle soup? Good question, Sally.
I don't know that,
Okay,
but just in our paper in the last couple of days, there was a picture of a veterinarian who had operated on a turtle and found all manner of plastic stuff
Oh.
in that interior.
yes.
It was just horrible.
Yeah, if they eat enough trash, then they won't eat because their stomach feels full, and they can't pass that through their digestion system. So that will be the end of the turtle. Someone told me recently, and I saw it on television, there's a turtle somewhere, I believe it was in China, where it was in a big enclosure, and tourists would come and toss coins for good luck. And they found, the turtle started seeming listless and not feeling well. Well, they did an ultrasound and had 121 coins that it had swallowed. But they did, as far as I know, save that turtle. Other questions, comments? Here, over here, Stan.
According to Google,
Google.
mock turtle soup is an English soup created in the mid-18th century as a cheaper imitation of green turtle soup. It uses brains and organ meats such as calves' heads or calves' feet to duplicate the texture and flavor of the original soup.
Thank you. Did you all hear that? Calves' heads, calves' brains. It doesn't sound too appealing. But at least it's not turtles, and it was the green sea turtles. Thank you. Google rocks.
I can't imagine how you operate on a turtle if it's in a shell and it has a hard stomach.
The stomach isn't as hard as the out exterior shell, but yeah, they do have to separate it. It's a tricky. They have to take the bottom or top off, or both.
But there's healing that can occur thereafter.
Yes, good question. So Stanley, Carol, and then this one. Carol here.
There is an island about halfway between the bottom of India and Diego Garcia, way down in the Indian Ocean,
Uh-huh.
in the warmest zone, that by international agreement is, I don't remember the actual name, but people refer to it as Turtle Island. It's a large nesting zone that all nations have agreed to stay away from.
Cool.
Only accredited researchers can go there, and they can only observe. They're not allowed to interfere in any way. And there's a very good, I think it was National Geographic that posted the video, and if you look on YouTube, you may be able to find it. And it's a real numbers game. Not only do individual nests all come out at the same time, but hundreds of nests on the beach all launch at the same time because the birds are waiting.
The birds are waiting, the
And half of
crabs.
the turtles won't make it to the sea.
Yeah, half of them don't make it to the sea, and of the ones that do, 1 out of 100 will make it to maturity. So did you all hear what Carol was saying? Great. Hi.
I lived in Lahaina,
Oh,
now in the late 50s and early 60s. And there were two, most people in Lahaina in those days were Japanese or Filipinos. And there were two haoles, men from here, young men,
yeah.
who dived. And they used to, I'm wondering if turtles are so deep that they could get, what is it, when their legs get,
Bins?
The bends, something like that, yeah.
They
Well, 33,000 feet.
so they
Well,
go
they're
down.
not always there. They like hanging out in shallow bays. But yeah, they had to go all the way down. And did they catch the turtles, or they just
Yeah,
went
they
down?
caught them and they made turtle soup, or
And
they
they
gave them to a restaurant in Lahaina. And they made turtle soup.
I have snorkeled in Lahaina and swum with sea turtles, so I know it well. Yeah, could you all hear her? Okay.
Thank you. At the risk of anthropomorphizing,
Yes?
I noticed in that 1895 photo
Uh-huh.
of the skeleton that there were 5 digits at the end of each of the 4 limbs, as we have. So my wild question is, what is our relationship with the sea turtles?
I love them. I honor them. No, they're webbed feet, of course, and so there would be a web between each of, and so 5 is just probably a optimum number for that. I don't know the answer. I haven't run across anything that shows a direct connection between humans and sea turtles in terms of the development over time. But we could Google it.
Nature doesn't waste a good design.
Yeah, nature doesn't waste a good design, Carol says.
Or possibly those coins, I'm sorry, quick second question. Those coins that were found in the poor sea turtle's stomach,
Yes.
it really feels to me that the turtle was disturbed, possibly neurotic or
Bored?
bored, some sort of emotion that would cause it to eat these inedible, sparkly items.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I assume in my mind that it was in a too small of an area. It had nothing to interact with, maybe possibly no other sea turtles. And it was bored or, as you said, neurotic. Now that's in my mind, I don't have scientific proof of that, but it does seem to be unusual behavior. We got one there and then we'll come to you.
Well, this is a personal little turtle story. 1 year ago on Maui, around in November, we were at the beach, and this one turtle came hauling itself up on the beach, and it just where the surf is, and stayed there. We thought it was sick, and there weren't very many people in this little cove where we were, but it started attracting attention, and people came up, and it seemed like a normal turtle, and pretty soon a wave came and it went back in the ocean and paddled away, but it was just phenomenal. It probably was a green sea turtle.
Probably was a green sea
Yeah.
turtle, yes, yes. There is some reports of, usually on deserted beaches, and that's why there's just a few reports of this, of turtles coming out and sunning themselves, either because they've gotten cold, and as I said, they're cold-blooded, they can't regulate their body temperature. But as I understand it, it's usually where the beaches are deserted and there's no people around. So, but he was just there giving you a thrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful experience that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes, I'd like to ask you to repeat the turtle's connection to the lunar cycles.
The turtle's connection to the lunar cycles.
Yeah.
Well, they lay their eggs, the nesting female comes up when it's dark, and tends to do that when there's just a crescent moon, a small moon. Because if it's a full moon, they're going to be more obvious and more possibly set upon by predators. Their main predators are raccoons, skunks, and dogs. Yeah, and then the baby sea turtles, they need some light in order to go to the sea so they can see the sparkling of the moonlight on the ocean. So they, I believe, I'm not sure of this, but I believe they do it more when there's more moonlight.
They never come out in the daylight then?
They're not supposed to. If they do, that probably means none of them are going to survive, because the crabs are there, the seagulls are there, they're like ready to go. Whereas less of those are around at nighttime. Good question. All right, any more questions or comments? Well, you've been fabulous, and to thank you, I have door prizes. So if you have a heart on the right arm of your chair, or you're near one, you get a door prize.
And while she's working on that, they kind of put it to thank her.